Hi, good evening. So we're going to be doing a stronger for longer class, and I'm going to try to give you about 15 minutes. So I'm going to start off with our warm up. So I'm going to put our band on the back of the chair, and always when you're doing a class, always remember to follow your safety instructions on the back of your program card. Make sure you've got a sturdy support and make sure you've got a bottle of drink to hand. So I would have a bottle of water just under here if needed, to the side of my chair. So I'm going to start with my active position. So I'm going to bring myself forwards in the chair and take my feet just underneath in line, ankles and knees. So thinking about posture, I'm going to lift up and lengthen that spine. So I'm pulling my waist and separating to make that gap between here and here. Tummy muscles are in, and I'm going to start with pedaling my feet. So ideally, when I'm being seated, I want to give myself 30 seconds to a minute. It will depend on different people to let that circulation come up my body. I'm going to make sure that I've got those tummy muscles engaged, and I'm lifting out my waist. My shoulders are back and down, and I'm keeping my breathing regular. And I would say, yes, pay attention to how you feel all the time. So when we're doing the class, we often start off with doing 5 of something, and then we see how we feel. So I am going to take myself up, first of all, for the warm-up, and then I'm going to move on to my strength exercises. So I pedal those feet for a moment. I'm going to take myself ready into standing. So I'm going to bring my heels back, my feet are hip width apart, and depending on your level of support, you might be using the arms, or you might have your hands on your thighs. So if I'm using my arms, my hands are going to go on the middle of the chair. And what you could do as well is just get used to that lifting the arms forward. So we want a waist to be lifted, so with no bowing, but we're going to push up when we're ready. Okay, so I want to feel the weight between my feet, and I'm going to do it on the count of 1, 2, and 3, and then I'm going to power up into standing. So I'm going to get into that warm up and start marching the feet so I don't feel uneasy or woozy. I'm then going to take myself slowly, taking 1, 2, 3 steps, and eye line forwards and bring myself round to the back of the chair. So I'm continuing my pedal. And what I'm going to do is take myself to the side of the chair, and I'm going to bring in a 1 arm movement. So with this arm, I want to initiate that movement from the elbow. And what I'll just do a quick posture check for the moment. So I've got my feet hip width apart. I'm lengthening up through the spine. My tummy muscles are pulled in, and my shoulders are back and down. So, and I'm bringing up, rolling through to the ball of the foot to the heel. So my arm is going to swing back, and I'm trying to get that range of movement from the elbow with my shoulder down. Okay, so depending on your level of support, you might be doing that 1 arm, you might be doing that 2. I'm then going to let my arms relax just for a moment and continuously pedaling those feet. So I'm still coming to my warm-up. So my warm-up could be anything from 3 to 6 to 7 minutes. If you're doing this early in the morning, you might need a little bit more circulation for your body to warm up. Next, I'm going to be doing a toe tap, and I'll continue with this after my mobility. So I'm going to start with my outside leg as well. So holding onto my chair, body in line. Oh, Kieran, can you go through the other door? Sorry. And then I'm going to take my toe forwards and back into a 12 o'clock. I might take 1 arm as well. And I'm going to bring it into my 2 o'clock. So taking that foot and toe coming down, good. Pedaling the feet out here. I'm going to start with my mobilisation just in a moment, but I'm going to take myself to my opposite side, feet hip width apart, and I've got my outside leg, toe pointing down, eye line forwards, coming back in. I'm going to take myself out for that 2 o'clock, and then working on my ankle mobilisers. So I'm going to take my toe down with a knee bent, and I'm going to bring my heel back up. So keeping my vision forwards, I'm thinking about feeling it in the front of the foot to the back. So that is for strengthening the front of the foot, the shin, for stepping out of the car, making sure my feet are hip width apart again. And you're using that ankle toe motion for heel toe walking. So I'll do that 4 to 5 times on each side. And then I'll take myself around to my chest. I'm just showing you from the side. So I want to get the feet shoulder width apart here. And what I want to do is I'm going to be doing a shift of my weight from side to side. So I'm using my legs, just getting used to shifting my weight. Yeah, so that's just making sure I feel nice and sturdy. Then I'm going to be coming on to my mobility. So I would perform this movement seated, as in the other video that I've sent to you, if you feel that would be more suitable. So we're doing this for the lower back and the trunk, and this one is your trunk movements. However, this is not. This should be taken very, very slowly and gradual if living with a back condition. So what I would say to you is, first of all, we're going to be doing a side bend. So I'm going to take the feet shut up a little bit wider than the hip width apart. So I've got my steady position, and I'm going to be taking a reach down. So eye line forwards, holding on if I need. I'm going to come back up. So I'm sliding down as if I'm in a toaster, keeping my shoulders in line with my hips. And I'm going to do a couple on the opposite side. And what this does is gets us used to shifting our weight, but also the flexibility of our big back muscles, which help us to stand upright. So I'm either going to do a couple more of those, or I'm going to come into my trunk movement. So I'm going to wiggle my toes and my shoes, hand comes across the chair, and I'm turning my head and shoulders. So what I want to be careful of is that the hips don't turn here. So I would say, depending on how you feel, take that side bend option or take that trunk movement. Keep your breathing regular, no holding breath. And remember those hips forward. So your movement is just a gradual reach across the chair. So take the seated option that I gave you in earlier videos, which shows how to do that seated if you'd be rather more comfortable. Your head turns, your shoulders are back and down, and you're keeping your eye line forwards. So your vertebrae in your neck are really sensitive. So we want to do is a very slow, controlled movement. Just going to regulate myself for a moment. Just think about those shoulders. Think about getting sturdy. And I'm going to be taking slow movement with my head as I'm breathing in and breathing out. I'm just going to turn to the right side, keeping the shoulders down. But then I'm going to pause in the centre for a moment before I turn to that left side, so coming back and then back in. So I would try that movement to 2 or 3 times, or as advised in your book. And I'm going to continue taking a pedal on the spot. Lovely. So next is our lower back mobiliser. So again, I would be very gradual with this range of movement. If you'd prefer to come back into our side bend, yeah, and you can do this seated or standing. Think of that support, think of how sturdy you feel. Or your lower back mobiliser will be one hand on the hip, the feet are going to go nice base of support. So think about that base of support, a bit wider than the hip width. And then we're lifting up from the chest. But before you do that, lift up here, tummy muscles are in. Keep that breathing regular, keep your eye line forwards, hand on your bottom or hip, and then from lifting up as if lifting up with a string between the chest for a few seconds. No holding breath and release. Okay, with the knees soft. So it's just a very small movement. Some of you will be able to do it a little bit more, but it really depends on that lower back, because what we don't want is an overarch. So we want to be careful. So if it feels a bit better to take that side bend as an option, but as it's in your program book, it's something that we'd like to get you to do, but you really have to listen to your body all the time. So I'm just going to take a short pedal, just have a little bit of a stretch for a moment. So taking one leg back, with a gap between both my feet. So don't attempt what I did, just turning there, but you want to have a gap between the feet. So that's the way we should turn. So feet are hip width apart, and we're going to get that back leg straight. We're going to bend the front knee. I'm just holding for about 8 seconds. Knee doesn't come over the toe. Then I'm going to release back in. And the same for the opposite side. So the heel is going to go down. The front knee doesn't come over the toe. Keep that regular breathing. I've got my support on the chair, and we're coming back in. So I'm going to start to warm up and pedaling through those feet. Lovely. I'll bring back into my arm swing. And if you feel comfortable with no support, only if you feel comfortable with no support, if you need to hold on, then you may think about bringing both of those arms and coming into that march. Keeping that breathing regular. So think about how you're marching. Think about how your feet are going. And then relaxing the arm back down. That's it. And I may even do some steps backwards. So I'm going to take, I'm turning, you don't turn, but I'm going to take myself back to the chair. And I might even think about doing a few half step backwards. As I step back, I'm making sure that my front knee is bent all the time, and my shoulders, my hips, they always stay in a little bit of a line. Okay, lovely. I'm just taking that pedal back on the spot. So when we step back like this actually activates the posterior muscles and the calf muscles. So this will help you to get a little bit more warmed up. And that's quite important. You might even think about as well doing just a minute of side toe tap. So when I step to the side, I actually do like a 10 o'clock to a 2 o'clock. It's not directly out, it's slightly horizontal. And that's it. Lovely. I might do 6 of those and then come back into that pedal. So I'm just going to check in with myself, and I do this all the time, just to think about how I'm feeling, what's my breath, how am I doing? Okay, so in the class, what we often do is we give you that choice of doing that body weight exercise or using the bands. So what I will do is come into those knee bends, and then I might say to you, to encourage you to continue to 10, or take that seated option with me here if you need to come to sit down. So we've been standing for about over 10 minutes now, yeah? So it's up to you. If you do want to come into seated, we're going to be doing those leg press. Alternatively, come and do 5 knee bends with me. Check in with, see how you are, and then carry on with another 5. So the feet are hip width apart, toes are facing forwards, and we're going to take a bend back. So we want to keep this bottom higher than our knees, and we're doing this to build up the posterior muscles so that in case of a stumble, goodness forbid, then we've got more power to push up from these leg muscles. But we want to be careful we don't have any hangovers, so that the knees don't come over the toes, and that is something you're going to build up with leg strength doing those bands. So it's a half and half. So shoulders back and down, thinking about my posture, toes are wiggling. Am I breathing? Can I talk? And I'm going to take a bend back, so hinging back at the hips, making sure the knees don't come past the toes, and then I'm coming back into standing. Thinking about my breath, going slowly. Okay, so how am I feeling? How hard do I feel I'm working at the moment? Okay, I want you to think about that while we do one more. So I often tell you how hard you feel you're working. You know, do you feel like you've been washing up and standing for 15 minutes? Is it feeling heavier? And that's where you've got to decide, can I do another 5? Or do I need to sit? And I think I need to build that leg strength up a bit. So if your knees are coming past a little bit, then maybe think about building that leg strength. And we do have that in the home program. We do encourage you to do 2 lots of 6 leg presses 2 or 3 times a week to build up that strength. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to come into my chair, take the legs to the back of the chair, and I'm going to slowly sit down. Now you might need to hold on, just make sure the legs are there, hinging back. So I'm now going to bring myself into the front part of my chair. I'm just going to check in with myself at the moment. Do I need a drink? Do I need to move back? How am I feeling? Do I need a moment? Do I need a pause? And when you do a strength exercise, you want to give yourself that break too. Yeah. So always think about your breathing. We do that supercalifragilistic, and you're filling it with extraldosis. I think I said that right. So you're thinking still, can I talk? Am I okay? We need a moment. And then we're going to come into those leg press when you're ready. So we'll come forwards in the front part of the chair as I did before, and I'm just turning to show you. And I'm going to take one band underneath one foot. So we've done a little bit of this with the arms, yeah. You might feel, if your wrists are a little bit sensitive today, you might feel like doing a little bit of hand movement, a little bit of twirling, a little bit of finger to thumb, yeah, a little bit of clenching. You might think of doing a few of these for a minute. And you might think about scrumpling rather than holding. So take the choice, either scrumple or ponytail. So I'm going for 5. I'm going to lift up and I'm going to bring towards my hip. Yeah. I'm going to push down to the floor for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then I'm going to come up slowly for 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to breathe out, thinking about my posture again, shoulders down, lengthen the spine, tummy muscles in. And I want to get that stretch to the floor. So with your bands, they're all different colours. You see I've got a yellow one here. So I might start off on 5, 6 and see if I can build up with a few more times. I might be doing it up to 8 or 10. You've got a heavier band, it's a different story. But the idea is that we start off lighter, we build up our endurance and our power to be able to push and push a strength mode. So at the moment with a lighter band, you're doing endurance. You're getting the energy for that power. So we're going to take our band in our opposite foot and we're going to hold the band depending on how your wrists feel. Think of your back, tummy muscles in, and then we're going to bring the band towards the hip. And then we're going to push down to the floor. So we want to go slowly. We don't want to lock the knee out. We want to breathe out and coming back in for that breath. So thinking about really getting that nice, eased movement. There's no rush with it. We don't want to be coming too high. And we're going to take the band off. Yeah. And come into that march on the spot. So like I said, you might be thinking about doing an additional 5 knee bends there and adding on this as well. After you've finished, you'll take a break. Ideally, you'll do another set, but you'll take a break. You might sit back in your chair, you'll have your drink to hand. And I would say always have a closed bottle and have it underneath your seat. So you might pick up the bottle and have a bit of a drink. Yeah. Next exercise. So we're going to be doing our arm curls. Yeah. So building up muscles in the arms to be able to use this as a compensatory stop if, worse forbid, we have a stumble, but also for carrying shopping, for just building up strength and lifting. So we're coming forwards in the chair again, and we're going to take the band on the floor. So the short part is on the floor, and then the long part is held in our hand. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to pull up. Now with shoulder injuries, you might not be using it this way, and you'd certainly, with a shoulder injury, you'd want to come up with a lighter part of the band. You don't want to be coming up too deep. So we're going to bring the elbow in, and we're going to be curling up the arm towards the shoulder, and then we want to come back down. And initially, we want to breathe in when we're dropping, when we're smoothly coming down with that band. But because we're living with different conditions, we might be taking a couple of breaths in at different times, a couple of breaths out. We might even be like doing nasal breathing, but just remembering to breathe natural, how it feels right for you, and just not to hold that breath. So I'm doing that really small. I'm coming to 5 there. I'm then going to change over. So I'm going to take my band in the feet. I'm going to hold the band short and come up for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then slowly come back down. So I'm keeping the elbow in all the time, and I'm keeping my knuckle, my wrist quite straight, and taking a pedal on the spot. The other thing you could do is you could bring your elbows in. You could take a light pull, then curl up, then release. A light pull, curl up, and release. The only thing with that is the proper way in your home program is to take your feet on the band and curl up. However, you've got to listen to your body and know when what your shoulders are about. You know, it's always important to always warm up the shoulders before doing any arm or back exercise, as we warm up the legs for doing a leg press. So now we're going to take a pedal on the spot, and we're going to be doing a couple of arm, taking a break into our upper back strengtheners. So the hands are going to come underneath. They've got to be close together, because then you're getting that pull. So if they're not close together, you haven't got that initial pull there. So with this one, check in to see how you feel. Check in to see how your back is. Do you need a moment? And with this one, you're going to work on range of movement, small, build it up. So the palms are underneath. We're going to take a little pull on that band. So first couple of weeks, you might be bending your elbows a bit and coming back. Remember to breathe out when you bring that band in. But as you get used to this, and when you feel comfortable, don't forget this is using all your back muscles. So you've got to go, if you've got back conditions, do go slowly, gradual with this. Otherwise, if you feel comfortable, you want to try and bring the elbows back and it towards the tummy. So that's my 6th one in, making sure I breathe out when I'm drawing it back in, and I'm trying to breathe in as I come forwards. So keeping your breathing again steady and regular to you. And it works the back muscles by helping you stand upright, and it helps you with anything that you're pulling. But your back muscles are so important because they support you in everything you do. And it initially helps with our posture as well. So it's quite a few things there. I'm going to take a little break. So again, I would say what's recommended to do in your home program, I would definitely do. And I'm going to come into standing for a little bit of balance, and then coming back into seated. But I would say to see how you feel at this point. So if you're feeling a little bit tired, perhaps you want an option. So when we do the calf raises, your other option is to shift your weight in the chair, but see how you feel. Check in with your shoulders, check in with your back. And you can take one leg and keep it sturdy whilst you extend the other leg. And then what you're doing is you're doing a reach forwards, and then you're coming back, bringing that foot back in. So your foot steps forward as you keep this opposite knee underneath the ankle, and you bring yourself forwards and you bring yourself back. You may do a couple times on each. Alternatively, if you're happy to do the calf raises, I'm going to bring my heels back. I'm going to use my hands to push me up, and I'm going to go for 1, 2, and 3, and then power through the legs. So that's that push through the legs. I'll pedal 15 seconds on standing, and then I'll come around to the back of my chair and hold it on. So I'm going to go for 5 calf raises. I'd say in your book you're going up to 10. Feet are hip distance apart, and you're looking forwards, and you're lifting up onto your big toe and your second toe without those ankles rolling in. So you want to go for 1, 2, 3 and down. We're going to lift up for 1, 2, 3. Then it's all about how smooth we go down. So there is a lift of the crown of the head lifting up, there's a lift of the waist, the back is lifting, but your knees are soft. So it means you're keeping your legs straight, but you're not pushing down the heels to lock out those knees. Keeping the breathing regular. I'm going to go for 1 more and take that moment to relax and taking that pedal. And what we could do as a last thing is we could come into our heel toe stand. So coming to the side of the chair, only if you're comfortable to, and you would never cross your foot right in front of the other one. If you've had a recent hip operation or knee operation, you've got to be keeping those feet slightly apart. So the eye line is forward, your tummy muscles are in, and you're always leading with your outside leg. So we're just going to be standing for 15 seconds on our taking that foot in front with a small gap between your front heel and your back toe. Then I'll just stand upright, breathing through, and then I'm going to be taking my foot back into feet hip width apart. So I'm just going to shift out my weight again, and I'm going to come over to the other side. So another thing to say is when we do our side bends, we want to bend through the knees coming back. So there's a bend through the knees, and you're waiting for your transfer of your weight before you lift up that opposite foot. Again, before you try that one, you've got to check in with how you feel. So the outside leg again is going to come forward. Your eye line is forward. You're lifting up from the waist. Your knees are soft. You've got a little gap between your front toe, front heel and your back toe. Posture's nice. Breathing's regular. 15 seconds and we're done. And we're taking a pedal on the spot. Lovely. So we're going to come now into seated, and we're going to start stretching and cooling down. So walking around to the front of my chair, legs are touching the back of the chair, and I'm reaching down, keeping the feet hip width apart, reaching for that chair with my arms. You might not need it. Pedaling the feet out for a moment. So we've done the back, we've done our arm curls, we've done a heel toe stand, we've done our calf raises, and we've done a little bit of version of how we warm up in the class, haven't we? The other thing that you could do is a good one to keep strengthening your outer thighs, and it's actually something you could do instead of that side stepping that I just did, if you feel that you want that break. So we're going to take the band across the legs, bring ourselves forwards in the chair, legs are together, and you want that band thick because you want to pull it round the thighs. And we're going to take the legs outwards to the side. We're going to come for 1, 2, 3, and then come back in for 1, 2, 3. Coming out for 1, 2, 3, and coming back in. So you're strengthening those outer thighs to be able to step more easily sideways, to be able to support your lower back more, because you'll have that sided thigh strengthener. And we're going to release. So definitely time to come into a nice cool down now and start pedaling those feet out. So we've just got for about half an hour, which is really good. So just to emphasize, it's a stronger for longer session, because we've been doing that standing. So the stronger for longer is 10 minutes standing and up to 10 minutes of standing and more if we can. Whereas a ready steady walk is a little bit different. So we're going to take those shoulders up and back down and think about cooling down now. slowing down my breath. And think about stretching. We can do some ankle mobilizers as we bring the bottom back in the chair and we raise up one foot so it's not that high off the floor, bringing my heel down, bringing my toe down. So getting a stretch on the front and back of the foot and changing over. And then I'm going to bring myself forwards in the chair, sort of calf stretches. So I'm just going to turn my chair around to show you. And I'm going to take one leg forwards, bring the toe up to the ceiling. And I'm holding this stretch for 15 seconds. So regular breathing, lifting up, bringing that toe in. And then I'm going to bring it back, and the same for the other side. So the leg comes forwards, toe comes up to ceiling, keeping that breathing regular. And into my back of thigh stretch. So take my leg forwards, I relax my foot. As my hands are on the supporting leg, think about shoulders down. And unlike the calf raise where you're lifting out the waist, you're actually hinging at the hips here. And you're thinking about getting the shoulders down, keeping your eye line forwards, keeping breathing regular, and then back. And the same for the opposite side. So that toe relaxes for the back of thigh stretch because it is trying to get the back of thigh. I'm sitting forwards. I've got my hands on my supporting leg, not my straight leg, and I'm leaning and hinging at the hips. Lovely. And coming back down. Into our chest stretch. So hands are going to go behind, or they can do anything really. They can come here, here, wherever you like. 10 seconds though, so hands are here, and again be careful with the back. So I just want to get that, feel that little stretch across the chest and release. Shoulders up, draw back and down, and now I'm going to lift my shoulders up to my ears as I breathe in, and as I breathe out I'm going to drop them down. So coming up, dropping them down and coming up, dropping them down and coming up. Lovely. Sit and taking a little bit of a calf raise with the heels for a moment. And taking myself just as steadily into my breathing. So thinking about you breathing now and winding down. You could place one hand on the tummy or both hands on the tummy, and you're just trying to do your best version of. So taking a breath inhale and taking a breath out, exhale. And you want to feel your body start to slow down. So the adrenaline starts to lower. And you may even just bring in a little bit of an arm movement whilst you're bringing your breath down into that relaxation mode. So you could take a breath in and you could take a breath out. That's the right side. You could come back into the middle, take a breath in, and you could take a breath out. Pressing down to the left side. You might take a breath in, bring your right hand, you might turn the wrist down. You might take a breath in, you might take the left down. And so it's just slowing that movement down. You might even end with that trunk movement if you feel comfortable. One hand on the thigh and turning. And then pausing in the centre. And then turning to the other side. And then just cooling down really now, just relaxing. And taking yourself back into the chair so you can comfortably sit and just have a notice of how you're feeling. So you might just do your ankle mobilizers, and if that's tricky, just do the best you can with that. And the other side. Yeah, and I would say have a drink and then give it a couple of minutes before you come up. So making sure you pedal your feet, for 30 seconds to a minute. But thank you very much, and see you soon. Bye.